Here's the first one. I'm a virgin at 20, and it makes me extremely insecure. How do I get over this? I feel extremely insecure about my virginity. When people ask me if I'm a virgin, I just lie. Everyone says it's normal, but it seems everyone has lost their virginity before 18. It just feels like I'm left out. Also, apparently, I heard it's a red flag if you're a guy and a virgin. Edit. It's so bad I can't even focus.
First of all, I think it's weird that people just ask people if they're virgins. So that's just a first for me, right off the bat.
Yeah.
Second of all, there's nothing to be ashamed of. You just never had a chance to. Like, there's no rush.
Yeah. You know, I don't actually believe in the word virginity. And I'll say why. So
Here we go.
basically, right, virginity is just saying that you're inexperienced with sex,
Hmm.
right? But what other thing are you inexperienced in that you have a word for, right? You don't be like, I mean, I can't make up a word on the spot, but like you don't have a word for like inexperience with golfing
You're a
or
novice.
yeah, but you could just say I'm a novice. I never had sex. I'm a novice. I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of weird. Like,
Hmm.
but what I mean is the word is not specific to golfing, right?
Hmm.
So I just feel like the word virginity is weird because for one, people being inexperienced with sex is just them being experienced with sex. It's not like a special thing that deserves a separate like title.
Yeah.
And then the other problem with the word virginity is people think that you could only lose your virginity if you get penetrated by a penis.
Hmm.
And that's not true. Like if you're a lesbian couple, your first experience with another person, sexual experience with another person,
Hmm.
that's you losing your virginity, you know?
Hmm.
Uh, Again, I don't believe in the word, so that like I'm just using it to paint the understanding of it.
Hmm.
Or like if you're a guy, I would say anything that involves another person is you having your first sexual experience. You with yourself, maybe not, but I guess that kind of blurs the lines because you're that is a kind of like a first experience.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you think? Like, do you think your first experience can be with yourself, or do you think it has to involve another person?
That's kind of hard. But I feel like it could be a mixture of both. Because if you do it yourself, you're not really learning anything about how to please or be with somebody else. But you're not inexperienced in knowing how you feel yourself.
Yeah,
So it's like a fine line there. Hmm.
yeah. Well, I'll leave it to
Oh,
the audience or anybody in the chat. Like, give us your feedback. Like, what do you, or anybody out there in the world, give us your feedback. Like, if we define virginity, or we get rid of the word virginity and just say you're sexually inexperienced, right?
mhm.
When do you count the experience? Is the experience when you have your first sexual experience with yourself, or is
Mhm.
it when you have your first sexual experience with some other human being that's of age and of consent?
Yeah.
My advice for this guy would be stop lying, own it, own that shit, like be proud.
Mhm.
I know it's like embarrassing because you feel like you should be the same as your peers and all that. Like that's kind of like how life is. You always compare yourself to your peers,
Mhm.
but at the end of the day, being confident and owning something will have people respect you more
Yeah,
than being ashamed of it.
that's true.
So somebody in the chat in the Reddit comments replied, "Don't sweat it at all. I lost mine at 19, and I have friends who lost it when they were way older than you.
Mhm.
Rather than focus on getting laid and losing your virginity, focus on simply having healthy relationships with sex you are interested in, both platonic and intimate. With the sex you're interested in." Okay, that makes sense. That's where you need to put in the work. If you're not already, and everything will come naturally from that.
Mhm.
What do you think about that?
That's true. Like, it's no big deal, really. People make it a
Yeah,
big deal, but it's not really a big deal, though.
yeah. I also think like the advice is good. Like invest in trying to develop good relationships.
Mhm.
The only downside I see to that is so back when I was a virgin, like when you're developing relationships with people,
Hmm.
oftentimes, especially when it comes to like the opposite sex, it's hard to transition from platonic into a sexual.
Yeah.
So I think on one hand, that's good advice. Like, yeah, just focus on having good relationships, good meaningful relationships. But on the other hand, if you want to have sex with someone at some point, just having a good relationship with them is not going to equate to you being able to lose your virgin, like being able to have your first sexual experience.
Yeah.
And if that's what you want, this advice might not be that helpful.
Because a lot of people, mostly women, have a hard time going from friends to more than friends. You know, they don't want to mess up what they have or have things change, which is good, you know, to expect that to happen. But I feel like I can agree to the most part that it does complicate things if things are actually good.
Yeah,
And if things change, then you lose that person forever, not just sexually, but as a friend as well.
that's true. You know, when I was younger, I never thought about that. I always thought like that was a cop out, like girls saying that, like, I don't want to like lose our
Hmm.
friendship and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, just like we'll still be friends. But to be honest, I don't talk to any of my exes at all
Yeah.
for different reasons. It's not really because we follow and we just don't talk anymore. It's really because I don't want to like make them feel any kind of way, or I don't want to feel any kind of way. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
I feel like once you have that like bond with that with somebody, it's
Hmm.
kind of always there, even if you don't explore it anymore.
Yeah. It's always easy to fall back into, which is why people don't really like exes around.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless it was like a horrible breakup. But even then, I think it's like easy to still fall back into.
Yeah, I agree. I always feel like, especially when I was single,
Mm,
if I had an ex, I always felt like I had a chance of getting back with them if I really wanted to,
yeah.
and vice versa. Like, I would be more likely to give an ex a second chance or a third or fifth chance
Mm,
just because we've had that bond in the past.
yeah. I
And,
understand.
and for some reason, I feel like as humans, we always feel like, okay, we know what the problem was, we could fix it,
Yeah.
but it just never happens.
No. Life's so complicated.
Yeah. Although I will say this though, being married, you kind of have to learn to fix it.
Yeah.
Um, but not so much when you're just single dating.
Hmm.